Hello, Braves country. It's Coach Ken Anderson, County of your hardcore Braves, and we're coming late, but better than ever. It's a long 17 stretch for us. Ryan got back from Baltimore. How's my main guy doing today?
I'm struggling, dude. I'm struggling. 9 hours of driving up. That's the portion I did was driving up and then drove 9 hours back. Had my brother drive. I think he totaled like 4 or 5 hours each way. So yeah, I'm dragging, buddy. It was a long drive. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'd say it's a long drive. You got to go through Virginia. It takes forever, it seems like, to get through the state of love. I'm doing great. Braves had a postseason atmosphere. I'm sure you enjoyed it. You'll have a lot more intel to tell us because it is a different game when you get to watch it live. That's why I've always invited people to come to the ballpark and join it with me. It's not that I know more, but you just get to see more a little bit than TV can show you. But we did win two out of three. All games were brutally tight down to the wire. Both teams made so many mistakes. Both teams could have swept. Both teams could have got swept. I think it kind of come out the way it probably should have. But what did you think watching it live?
It was I would say game one was played very well on both parties. The Orioles played really well in game one, the Braves played really well in game one. Pitching was pretty good until late, but games two and three, a lot of base runners were left on, not very good approaches at the plate on either side. Pitching somehow was good when probably it shouldn't have been. A lot of walks for Bryce in game two, a lot of walks on the Orioles side in game three that were not cashed in. Defense was pretty sloppy for the Braves. It's just I thought they played really bad the last couple of games, and we escaped with a win, which is always a good thing. But um, I don't know. I wasn't pleased with their play towards the end of the series. If they played like game one throughout the series, I'd be more excited. But they got a lot to clean up.
Yeah, the little mistakes worry you a little bit because you can take both. They win the series in tight situations. You got to do that in the postseason. That's good. But the little bobbles, the little mistakes, those things will cost you. The Orioles just not a good enough team to take advantage of it. Even the last out, I think it was in game one where Austin even bobbled it, but at least he kept his head and threw him out. So we'll get better. Let's go ahead and dive into it. Game one was, to me, the most clean of the games. They both played well. Both starting pitchers threw the ball well. We'll get to ours first. Grant Holmes uh, gave us a Grant Holmes start. 5 innings, 2 runs. He walked a couple batters. He struck out five. I thought the ball was coming out good for Grant. I thought he threw it okay. What'd you think?
Yeah, Grant threw the ball pretty decent for him, right? The command, obviously, it gets to be issues at times. He looked great for the first time through the lineup, and my brother was sitting there beside me. He's like, "Man, he looks really good tonight." I was like, "Yeah, just wait till about the fourth or fifth inning." I said, "That's when he normally starts crapping himself." And sure enough, I think it was like the fourth or fifth inning. Some base runners got on, some runs started coming across the plate. It's just kind of Grant Holmes, right? He's a number four, number five starter. He goes out there and he can give you a good five quality innings more times than not, but it is going to have a lot of traffic involved and it's going to be really gut wrenching at times. But he found a way to get us through five and give us a chance to win. So ball was coming out pretty well, but I think he nibbles too much, especially through that second time through, which is what we've both been saying for quite some time, Ken.
Yeah, but I think he can be a weapon in the postseason. I think that's what the Braves see in him as well. He could even start a game and give you the first 3 innings. I want to talk about the Orioles here real quick. Trevor Rogers, he's been pitching great for them. He looked outstanding, and I wouldn't mind him being one of the guys who come as a Brave at the trade deadline of all the lefties they talk about. What do you think about Trevor and his start?
Oh, buddy, I texted you in the first inning. I said we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't miss anything out over the plate. He was dotting the corners. You could even tell by the guys when they were in the dugout. They were just like, "Oh shit, this is what we got to deal with today." I mean, his fastball had good life. He had good command with his off-speed pitches. The breaking ball had really good break on it. The changeup had good depth, and it tunneled really well with his fastball. He looked really good. I I'm glad they were able to make an adjustment against him because I didn't think they were going to be able to, but they were able to rack the pitch count up a little bit, get some clutch hits when they needed to. But I would not have been surprised if this was the game where Rogers went 7, 8 innings and gave up nothing just because that's how good of stuff he had this game.
He was really good. And, you know, here comes the inning he's talking about. I think the most frustrating for Grant was he got through the first two batters with ease. And he had to be really frustrated. I tell you what, Encarnacion Strand is a major pickup by Baltimore. That guy can rake. They might have found something in him. They jump out 2-0. Um, so um, they get to the next inning, and the Braves do find a way. They score by putting the ball in play. No home runs. We like that. Mauricio hits a sac fly. Now, Austin Riley only hit up 250 in the series only. That's above his season average. But he had two big hits. This was one of the big hits in this game. He ties the game with a single against Rogers, who threw him a changeup, and Austin kept back and hit the ball back up through the middle. That was a good sign by Austin. But it was just good to see us score some runs without the home run, wasn't it, Ryan?
Yeah, it was. And those guys that didn't really put good at bats together. And I think Austin, I can't remember if it was a long at bat. I'm pretty sure he
It
had like
was.
a 6 to 8 pitch at bat, and he really for that at bat he really went back to an approach like I got to stay up the middle because he's going to throw the changeup at some point, and I can't be way out in front of it where I either A, roll over to the third baseman, or B, completely miss it. So he gave up on trying to hit the fastball out of the ballpark, which is what he should be doing more of. And he really just focused on, I'm going to try to foul off the fastball. I'm going to stay on something until I recognize it, and then I'm going to shoot it back up the middle. And that's what he did. Really big hit because we were struggling just to put consistently good at bats together at the point, and Austin was able to come through with a big hit because I want to say it was with 2 outs.
Yeah, it was two
It
outs.
was 2 outs, and Rogers was pretty much cruising up until that point. So for us to be able to tie the game up there, I knew once we tied it, if our bullpen was able to hold the lead, hold it tied, that we were probably going to get to their bullpen at some point, just because the Orioles bullpen has been a little bit lacking this year for the most part. So, and they did.
You know, interesting here too in this game is we played shoddy defense a little bit in the last two games, but it's a good thing we played good defense in this game. This game was phenomenal. Michael with a catch, Ozzie with a catch. Mauricio Dubon keeps the game at a 3-2 deficit with one of the best catches you'll ever see. And Drake hits a home run. Again, Drake just did this the day before against San Diego. I'm not sure how he hits these pitches out of the ballpark. What did you see sitting it live? That thing looked like it was almost on the ground. He smoked it out of the ballpark.
Yeah, it was funny. My brother was sitting there and he's like, Drake's up. My brother, keep in mind, he doesn't keep up with the Braves fully, okay? And I was like, look, it's Drake Baldwin. I was like, it doesn't matter. I said, he could be 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts and he's going to find a way to come through. And that at bat, I can't remember what exactly the pitch was. I want to say it was a breaking ball that was down. It was middle part of the plate. It was down, and he just went down there and calmed it. Not a pitch that you are thinking is going to get hit 400 feet into the bleachers, but Drake Baldwin's probably one of the best pure hitters that I've ever witnessed. He does now. He might not be fully developed with game planning and all that, but as a pure hitter, where bat to ball skills and maintaining power for those bat to ball skills, he's probably the best that I've seen. And I didn't witness Barry Bonds or anything that growing up consistently. So for right now, I think in this game, like there are not too many pure hitters like Drake Baldwin. He might be one of one. And by the way, this home run right here, it was fair. So I think the Orioles got a little gypped on that call.
It's really hard to tell, and that's something we need to address too. I don't know if you could say it. They're going to have to probably put the laser up like they do in tennis to be able to tell those things. Ben McDonald on the Orioles network, he first thought it was fair, then he thought it was foul. So definitely how it was called on the field. But yeah, I was going to ask Ryan about that, but definitely laser. That's the view right there. But of course, it's coming from the third base. So Ryan would know better than we were because he was at the ballpark down that line, I think, is where you sit too. So
Yeah.
we could see if the ball went on the other side of the pole. But with that said, what got us to extra innings was a special surprise. Alicia Hernandez come in and threw three shutout innings with great stuff. His reward was he doesn't have any options. We had a DFA him. I don't think anybody has signed him yet, so hopefully he'll be back with the club. But it was pretty special stuff to get us to extra innings, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I was sitting there. I saw him come in. I was like, all right, well, let's just see what he's got. It's I haven't seen him pitch before, and he he's coming in to mop up the game, right? Walt's not chasing this one, and what that kid went out there and did for us to go out there and throw, what was it, 3 innings of clean baseball, and I think it was it the ninth or what? I think it was the ninth inning. It was the ninth inning or 10th. Well, I think it was one of the two innings where they got like the bases loaded. They had like one out, and I was like, well, this game's pretty much over with. And he gets into a 3-ball count and he's able to battle back and get the out and then get us out of the inning and into the dugout. I didn't think we had a chance. I thought for sure he was going to walk in the winning run and we were about to head back to the hotel, but that kid came in and pitched his rear end off for us, and I absolutely hate that we had to DFA him because that in no ways deserved a DFA, and Walt addressed that after the game. And I think it's something that MLB needs to start looking into because it's getting there's one team that gets to carry an extra arm. I don't know why it can't be the rest like that for the rest of the league, Ken.
Yeah, I agree too. They got to look into that because it's not good for the pitcher. They want to talk about pitcher's health. Well, let's take that pitcher's health into play too. So we're pushing these guys. So we get to extra innings. That was in the bottom of the ninth you're talking about. The Orioles broadcast crew was getting very excited when he got the ball 3 count, and Ben McDonald even talked about it. It was just a hell of a job to get out of that by the kid. He's not a kid, but he's been, first time up this year. In a couple of years, he's pitched in the major leagues. So we get to the 10th inning, and Jim hits well, first of all, we get a good hit out of Joey. It's first and third. Jim hits a ground ball to second, and Jackson Holiday, uh, I've actually been there. I've been where I dove on the ball, and then for some reason I went to throw it. It's like the air gets knocked out of it a little bit, and it just comes out of your hand funny. Is that what you've seen? He throws the ball into left field, and we take the lead.
So I when he dove and made the play, I was like, well, at least that's going to get the run home. And then you could see him. He was like kind of like he was on his knees and he just kind of flicked it. And it's one of those plays, Ken, where it's a big situation, and you've probably seen kids do this in high school a lot, where the moment gets a little bit too big and the arm just stops, everything clams up, and you just do that. That's exactly what I saw. I saw the moment got a little bit too big for Mr. Holiday, unfortunately, and it happens. He's young. He's going to get better. Orioles fans, though, man, they were all over that kid in the stands, man. I felt bad for him. I was like, because I've been there. I've been the player where I made the diving catch and then threw it away. 2 runs score, you lose the game, and you feel like the worst piece of crap in the planet. So I hate it for Holiday, but hope he's going to get better from it. But that's what I saw personally.
Yeah, he did the right thing. Everybody said he should have threw it to first, but Ben McDonald talked about it too. You got to go to second, keep that extra run because the team doesn't get two. Doesn't matter. Matt comes up and hits an absolute bomb off of Kittredge. They were thinking about bringing in Wolfram here, and they let Kittredge pitch to Matt. And for some reason, he throws him a four-seam fastball, and it is crushed by Matt Olson. At that point, you had to think game over, didn't you?
Yeah, we knew it. Everybody in the ballpark. When I tell you, as soon as Matt hit that baseball, they didn't wait for the ball to land. I think everybody in my section, they just all got up at once and they started heading for the exits. It was one of the back-breaking moments that it's fun to see when you're the visiting fan to come in there and when your team just shuts up the home crowd and sends them home for the night. It was. I will say this: that's one of the loudest baseballs I've ever heard come off a bat. That ball was absolutely destroyed. And if y'all listen to the Hip Cool, me and Ken talked about Mr. Kittredge, and we said the one thing that you got to do is make sure you get him up in the zone because his stuff flattens out. And Matty got it up in the zone, and he didn't miss it.
He crushed it. So game over. We think we go to the bottom of the 10th. They find a way to get the extra runner in. That happens all the time. That's no big deal. And God bless Dylan. He just is leaving these sliders up. We'll get to game 3. He left one up in game 3. Luckily, this one didn't tie. It was a 2-run homer, 7-6. And but with that said, he bows up and strikes out the next guy. Overall, we'll get the final thoughts on this game. Good win, 7-6. Phillies lose, so we go up 5.5. That's a good thing going out of the first game, don't you think?
Absolutely. I can't stand Philadelphia, so for us to come back and win in the fashion the way we did, especially with how many times it looked like we weren't going to, starting with Rogers and how dominant he was, and then moving to that situation with Hernandez, and it didn't look like we were going to get out of that pickle, but we ended up getting out of the pickle, and then we got the big hit from Matt to really put the game away. And then I know Dylan was a little iffy in the later innings, but he was also at like 30 pitches. His arm was getting tired, so the slider kind of flattened out on him a little bit. But like you said, Ken, he was able to bow up and get the next guy, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. We got the win, and we were able to head back to the hotel happy.
Yeah, so good win. So we take game one. So we go to game two, um, and they have a great record. We warn y'all, they play really well in Brandon Young. They have the best record in baseball with starter on the mound. They're now after this game they go to 14-3. He's a good pitcher. We'll start with him. What do you think about Brandon Young? I think they found something in this guy. This guy, his ball really moves. He doesn't hit any part of the meat part of the zone, and just a lot of lazy pop ups, a lot of lazy stuff getting hit. What did you see?
He was good, but I think there were times where the Braves just didn't. This was one of the games I was talking about where they just didn't have a consistent approach. Right there'd be like a strand of two or three guys have good at bats. You put one or two of them on base, and the next two come up behind them, and they just flail at the first thing they see, and they pop it straight up, or they roll over it for a double play. It's just, I think Young is good. I don't think he's as good as what we made him, if that made sense. I think the Braves should have he shouldn't have gone as deep as he did. I think the Braves could have limited him to 5 innings if they had a good game plan, and they could have scored 2 to 3 earned runs off of him. But, and then you're getting into their bullpen, which we already talked about. Their bullpen wasn't very good. You're probably going to do a little bit more damage. You're going to get into the bullpen, so that's going to have an effect on game three. Like that pitch right there, it was a good slider, but at the same point, if Austin Riley has a good approach, you're probably not going to chase that one right there. So that was the really frustrating thing for me, is that we didn't make him get the ball up. That breaking ball there to Yaz started at the low thigh, and he swung at it, and it had no chance of being a strike because you could read the spin. So I think that was the more frustrating part for me. Really not consistent approaches at the plate. Young was good. He had good stuff, but we didn't do our job in making sure that we executed our game plan as hitters.
What you brought up on the hip call, we had to get the ball up, and we did not do that. Made him look good. I tell you, whose ball was really moving in this game was Elders, and it was so moving so good. He probably had the best stuff I've seen him. He was better than he was the last start when he pitched well. I told Ryan he's moving like 18 inches. His ball was just moving, and so much that he walked. Was it 4 batters that hurt him? But he had 8 strikeouts. And we always say this about Bryce: when his ball's moving, it's a fine line he tries to run. When he starts striking out a lot of batters, he can't quite get to the 6th inning. If he wouldn't have had the walks, he would have. Bryce threw the ball really well here, Ryan.
Yeah, I was texting you, and I was like, "Hey, how's he look?" I was like, "Cause from what I'm seeing, like his velo was there. Like it didn't seem like he was missing by a ton. Like it was around the plate, cause Baldwin's glove wasn't moving a ton. So that's what I like when you're in the stand. That's what you got to go off of, because you don't have the box on the TV, and you're like, yeah, his stuff's moving about 18 inches minimum, and that's why he's having a hard time hitting the strike zone. I was like, well, that's kind of what I'm seeing right now. His stuff's really good. It's just missing a little bit. The walks were annoying, but I will say this: there was not a lot of hard contact off Bryce on the Orioles. Now, the Orioles aren't the best hitting team, but they were scoring some runs prior to this series, and Mr. Elder also was able to gas it up to 95 miles an hour, which I don't think I've ever seen Bryce hit 95 before.
Bryce actually had the best velo of our 3 starters, and we'd have bet that before the series. We'd have won a lot of money, Ryan, because that would have not been the case. He only gives up 1 earned run. We'll go ahead and address the kid here. Tough situation. First of all, Mike treated him like a veteran shortstop. Mike's probably really hating he did that. I think it caused the second easy drop once you get those yips in your head. Braves did a good job of surrounding the kid. Yastrzemski talked to him, Sale talked to him, Albies talked to him, Massimiliano talked to him for a long time in the dugout. And everybody knows who that is. That's their bench coach, guys. Tony Massimiliano's done a great job for us. Overall, what'd you think about the kid? I thought Michael treated him like a veteran shortstop. Probably just go on in there and take that ball, and then maybe the second one doesn't happen. We're not trying to blame Michael here. Jarvis has got to catch the ball. But what did you think?
So my brother and father were like, how in the hell did he miss that ball? That's the first thing they asked me. I said, well, here's what's going on. He's going back on the ball. I was like, so that's always tough for anybody going back, even outfielders. The second thing is Mike was in his ass. So if you watch the replay, Mike was, I was sitting right back on the left field line on this game, and you could see it. Mike was pretty much right up behind him, which I think he heard the steps, and that's why you saw Jarvis just kind of like reach out and try to stab at it because he didn't know if he was about to get smoked by Mike. So I told them, and I wasn't blaming Michael. I'm saying Michael should have called him off, and he should have gotten the ball because he could have gotten there easily and camped up under it. I was like, it's on Jarvis because he needs to catch the baseball. I was like, there's no getting around that. You got to catch that pop up. The second one was just 100% on Jarvis.
Yeah.
It's just nobody was around him. That's your ball. You got to catch the pop up, buddy. Like, it's 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 one of those things that you're going to go through as a young player. You know, it'll get in your head a little bit, but that's when you got to just put it out of your head. Like, you're going to have more plays to make. You're going to have other at bats in the game to have an effect on the game. You can't let one thing undo you here. And he could have let that play right there undo him where he got his feet tangled up, but he was able to stick with it and turn a double play, which was really big for Bryce at the time. So, was not his cleanest game, was not his finest moments, but overall, Jarvis is still a very good defensive shortstop.
Yeah, and he bounced back on Sunday and played well. So whatever the Braves told him, from Tony down to Chris to Ozzy to all of them, they did a good job. Yes, he looked good. Um, so they get up 2-0. We manufacture another run, which is good, guys. We need to manufacture runs. Mauricio was disappointed in his at bat, even though he knocked the run in. He felt like he should have done more damage. I agree with Ryan. Some of our swings, and that was one of them. He probably should have hit that ball down in the corner for a double. And he even said it after the game. He should have done more. He took that. I always like this Braves team. Let's go ahead and ask that now. They do a good job of saying, this is why we lost the game. It's me. They don't ever point fingers. That's a good sign in a ball club, isn't it?
It is, and an even better sign is, say, when Jarvis made the error, right? Those guys aren't going back and saying, well, that's why we lost the game. They're not pinpointing that on him. They're saying, well, I could have done X, Y, and Z here to give us a better shot at winning a ball game. They don't use anybody's mislaps as an excuse for losing a baseball game. Everybody's looking at it. It's Austin Riley, just for example. He's probably like, I could have done a better job. I could have better at bats. I could have gotten a better pitch to hit up in the strike zone, and I might have been able to drive a ball out of the ballpark to tie the game up or given us the lead. It's just, Bryce is probably going, I didn't make the pitch that I should have to limit the runner scoring from there and pick up my teammate. That's the sign of a good team. Nobody's bickering in that clubhouse. Nobody's pointing fingers like you're saying, Ken. They're all pulling in the same direction to win. And that's when you know you have something special, is when you get 27 plus guys all pulling in the same direction.
I agree. That's the reason why we think this team can do special things. Hopefully, Alex sees the same thing and adds to this team. We tied Ozzy. Ozzy ties the game with a home run, big home run. We get 2-2. Now, how we get to the game here is Madero throws the ball really well. I really thought that Walt used him too quick after the big 3 inning save. So I think Victor's okay. Don't you think he's okay? I think it's just a blip on the radar, his one bad outing there, don't you? I think he's actually going to help this ball club.
I'm not worried about him at all. His stuff was absolutely disgusting to see live. He was touching 100 miles an hour several times. He had a cutter that was hitting 93. And sitting down the left field line, you could legit see the movement. And that's kind of hard when you're at an angle to see movement on a cutter or slider. And you could see the movement on his cutter. Like, he had really good stuff. There is, I think it was, what was the situation? Second and third, or first, or bases loaded, like
Yeah.
2 outs. and I want to say it was a lefty. I don't know if it was Henderson or not, but it was a lefty at that I think was hitting, and he had no chance. I think it was Gunner. I was sitting back there and I was like, Gunner's got absolutely no chance to even hit this dude right now. Like he's just eating his lunch up for breakfast right now. He just ate him up the entire at bat. Like he's got really good stuff, man. He's my opinion, he should. And I'm not saying anything against Kinley. Kinley did a nice job in the next game, but I would be using him in high leverage situations right now more than Tyler Kinley because his stuff plays. Ken.
especially against lefties, and we'll get to that on game three. How we lost the game was, man, Mauricio Dubon. He took this loss on him, and I thought Mauricio, I didn't see that bad, but I love that Mauricio. He has another chance for a great diving catch. This one hits off the thumb, and he gets in there, and but Didier Fuentes was throwing absolute gas. Me and you talked a little bit this morning while you were trying to wake up. I really wish Drake would have caught a few more sliders in that second inning. And because I think Beavers went up there just swinging from the hills as quick as he could. He hits a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. They walk it off for a win. What were your thoughts as we get out of here on game two?
They had no shot on Didi in the first inning he was out there. They had no chance. He was throwing gas right by. I mean, I've never seen Didi touch 101. Like the ball was a blur in that first inning. Like he was absolutely disgusting. But as good hitters do and as big league hitters do, they're going to say, okay, well, he's got 101, but we haven't seen anything else. We haven't seen a slider. We haven't seen a splitter. And it was in the second inning where they got I think it was Holiday. Jackson Holiday hit the double and down into the gap, into the left center field gap. And then I think it was Hef who went out there and said, "Hey kid, they're hunting your fastball. Like that's all they're sitting on. They're swinging from the heels, and you got to start calling something else." So they went to the splitter, and the splitter worked a little bit, but I mean, the guys basically if they didn't see 100 coming out of the hand, they were just auto taking. I think every once in a while, I think you had one of them swing over the top of one, but it just wasn't an effective pitch for him. That's when I was telling Ken. I was at the end of the game. I was like, I wish Drake would have called the slider because at the slider, I think right now is his better secondary pitch, and it resembles more of the fastball, and it has really quick late breaks. So you might have gotten some lefties to swing over the top of the baseball. They didn't call it. Overall, his stuff looked really good, but he's got to develop secondary pitches a little bit more. But I mean, I'm not going to nitpick right now. I do think Didi is in the role that he needs to be in his future. I don't think he needs to go back into the starting rotation. I know that's bold, but if he's going to be a starting pitcher, the two secondaries that he has right now, he needs to develop even more, and then he's probably going to need to add another pitcher to, in my opinion.
I Yeah, I'm fine whatever they decide, but I think his strength is in the bullpen. I did finally see what Mauricio was talking about. It was the route he took. He thinks he took a bad route, and it was. So I love that about Mauricio. He's a self accountable guy. So we move on to game three. We got to win a series. We got lucky again. The Phillies had their longest homestand. They lose again, so we maintain a 5.5 lead. Might as well win the game and put pressure on them. Let's get to Raylo. Velo down, and it was funny. We talked about him as I was driving in to do the show. I don't know how the Orioles didn't hit him, Ryan. But Raylo gave us 6. He did what he had to do. He fought through. That's a veteran pitcher. I even had Ryan break down the innings if he was, but he was kind of had bad spots all 6. Ryan, what you think about Raylo?
I don't know how the Orioles didn't hit him. I told Ken this before we got on because we were talking about him, man. First pitch of the game, 88 miles an hour. Raylo looks back at the scoreboard, and you could tell, and he's just like, "Oh crap!" It was one of those days where he just did not have the extra juice, and I think he was. And from what I saw, he was drifting more forward to the plate. He wasn't holding into that back hip like you need to get the energy stored to have the velocity, but he did paint corners when he needed to, which is fine. But if I'm being honest, man, he had better stuff last game, and the he got smoked. He got ripped apart by the previous opponent when he had actually good stuff. He was having, hitting 96, 97. His curveball was pretty good. His slider was breaking decently. He just I don't know how they didn't hit him, Ken. I really don't. The Orioles just had bad approaches most of the weekend and just did not execute a game plan at all, which is probably why they need to be sellers, just because they cannot hit the baseball. Reynaldo Lopez this game was probably the worst starting pitcher in Major League Baseball today on this day based off of his stuff, because what I was seeing, I was 91, 92, didn't have much life. Slider didn't have a ton of movement. Changeup was mediocre. Like, I don't know how he didn't get hit. If you're putting this Reynaldo Lopez up against, say, the Washington Nationals, he probably doesn't make it out of the second inning, Ken.
Speaking of that, that'll be Ray Doll's next start. So he talks about mechanics, and that'd be what Ryan's talking about, not getting out on his front side, arm drags. He can't get the velocity up. Hopefully, they'll get that fixed because that Nationals team can rake. And the team he was talking about, the Padres, he had great stuff that day, and we always kind of wondered if the Padres didn't have something on him. So we're glad the Orioles did. Now, Shane Baz throws for them kind of all over the place. It's kind of hard to zone in a guy like this, but we able to find a way to score a couple of runs and go up. One was because of a misplay in center field by Tavares. I think it's just Tavares out here. It may be
Cowser.
Cowser. Okay, Cowser. Yeah, and that allows us to score a run. Dom Schmidt with a big hit, gets two of them. Going the opposite way. It's good for Dom, wouldn't it?
Dom was their best hitter this game. He was the one who went up there. You could tell every time he went up there, he was like, I'm just trying to hit the ball as hard as I can to left field. He wasn't trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark. He had the best at bats of anybody on the team. That's why I want to keep Dom Smith. I look, I know he wasn't productive, and I know it was hard to say, well, why are we keeping him? Well, this is why. He's a professional hitter. He goes up there, he gives you a professional at bat more times than not. He goes up there with a game plan, and he's more times than not executing the game plan. So Dom Smith was reason why we got to be able to play into, actually have a chance to win the game. And I don't know, like I said earlier in the season, I don't know where we're at without Dom Smith and a lot of the guys that we've had role playing this year. He's been a very big surprise, very big addition, and I'm glad he got his moment in the sun again, because he deserves some love, man.
I also think Dom Smith needs to stay. Somebody's got to hit Yamamoto. Somebody's got to hit Glasnow. Somebody's got to hit Mizorowski. Somebody's got to hit Wheeler. And he has a better chance than most right-handed batters. So keep him on the roster. He'll be a good number 13. So how they tie the game is, we've already talked about Dylan. Hank gets another slider. Alonso hits it, makes it 2-1. But how they tie the game is probably one of our most sure hand this year. Ozzie, it's happened to all of us. Most of the times it's in church league softball after we turn past the age of 30. But the ball goes right between our legs. It pissed him off. He makes a great diving stop on the next play, and he threw the ball. They were jokingly said he threw the ball 110 miles an hour to Matt to get him out because he was so mad. Things happen, but good job of getting into extra innings there. But what'd you make of how we blew the lead?
He got flat footed. He got back on his heels a little bit and he let the ball play him. And that's what Ozzie was pissed about, because Ozzie never does that. And the one time he does it, it comes back and bites him in the rear end. But like you said, Ken, and that's so one thing that's a beautiful thing about baseball is I think that's the difference right now, as you're seeing between Ozzie and what you saw between Jarvis. Jarvis goes out there and boots the same play. Ozzie, next pitch or next couple pitches, balls hit right to him. He makes a great play to save the game. Yes, there was tying run scored, but if that ball gets through, there's no telling what happens in the next couple batters. So he did give up the lead, but he also saved the game in the same sense, and he gave the guys a chance to go and win it later on. Ozzie's going to make that play 999 times out of 1,000. So I'm not going to crucify him just because, it was the one error, but it happens. You're going to win and lose as a team. And let me tell you, Cam, I'd have been way more upset with our hitters this game because, again, we did not have a game plan and we did not execute a game plan consistently. And we had 14 runners left on base. We were 3 for 14, chat, with runners in scoring position, and Dom Smith had 2 of the dang hits. So I'm not going to blame it on Ozzie. Yes, it was an error. But at the same point in time, when you're 3 for 14 with runners in scoring position, you should have probably had about 6 or 7 runs on the board, in my opinion, Ken.
I agree. Good job by Rossiel. Get him out of that. They get the extra innings. Danny Young's ball was moving. He had Bryce Elder disease. His ball was moving 18 inches, so he ends up walking 2 guys. We've been hard on him. Nobody harder on him than me. Tyler comes in, does an outstanding job to get us to the 11th. And we'll talk about how he finished the game off. Let's go to how we won it. Um, we're able to get there, and Austin Riley says in his post game, he purposely hit the ball to right field. Okay, Austin, that means we know you can do it. That means we know you figured it out. We're expecting Austin Riley to finally go on. He's been okay after. He's been better than average after here in the second half. But could we expect big things out of Austin Riley? Just for his verbiage right there sounds good to me.
I want to say yes so bad. I do. Like, Ken, there's nothing in me that wants to say yes then because he's my favorite player. I'm sure as everybody on this app knows, he is my favorite player. But at the end of the day, is me and you have always talked about it. We're saying, can he consistently put these at bats together in order to go on a run? And the answer for the most part has been no. But I do have some stats on Big Thick. Are you ready for him, Ken?
Yes.
In his second half, he's hitting 308, a 357 on base percentage, a 460, a 564 slugging percentage for a 921 OPS. His second half with runners in scoring position, he's hitting 364, 364 OBP, 450 slot 5 slug for an 818 OPS, and he's got a 125 WRC plus with runners in scoring position. So he has been really big in clutch moments, and I know you also have a stat to give here in a second on Austin Riley, but I was glad to hear it in his post game where he's like, I saw them that this whole series they were just pitching me away, so I wanted to make a conscious effort to try to hit the ball to the right side to get the runner over to third base. I was like, thank God you're finally trying to do it. Now go out there and do it every single game. Because if you have that approach where you're sitting there trying to stay right center field on the fastball, you're going to probably pull some changeups into the gap. You're probably going to hit some breaking balls into the left center field, right center field gaps. You're going to hit the fastball again. Just get back to that approach consistently, buddy. Like I've been preaching that all freaking year. That's the missing piece because if that's going, your mechanics are going to be good and you don't have to worry about anything else. But we'll see if he can do it, Ken.
My whole point, me and Ryan like to talk before we get on these things. We don't try to pre-script anything, but we kind of know what we're both at. Is Austin went 3 for 12 in this series, got on base 5 out of 14 times, which is pretty good. He and he got two big hits, one in game 1, tied the game 3. Gives us the lead. If Jim Jarvis would have done the exact same thing, y'all would be talking about how great of a series he had. I understand the money comes into play. Me and Ryan are not dumb, think that doesn't come into play, but we got to give him some leash. And if I tell you what, I don't care if he has a 650 OPS all year. If we get in a postseason type games like this and he's producing winning hits each game, I could care less what he did in the regular season. So let's just see where it goes, and hopefully Austin's learning as he goes. We know that in the postseason he can be an absolute beast. So if he gets going before the postseason, he will be huge, and that goes against guys like Blake Snell, Christopher Sanchez, all those lefties we're going to have to face in the playoffs. So we get the win, but how do we did it was I thought Walt Weiss had a masterful class running this bullpen. We're on the back end of it. We're in the middle of 17, back into 10s. He's getting the bullpen through it. He gets up, and Tyler Kinley takes ownership after the game, folks. He said, I'm not getting left-handers out. So he did not surprise Tyler that he decides to walk Jackson Holliday to load the bases to get 125 hitting Sam Huff. Some of y'all text me right away, including some on this show, not Ryan. That was a mistake. Well, you have no idea. That was the right move to make. Tyler gives his coach a fist bump by holding him in there and getting Sam Huff to get a ground out to third. I think totally right decision. What about you?
100%. I was when I was in I wasn't at the ballpark at this point. I was making that 10-hour trek home. So I was listening to it on the radio, and God bless Ben Ingram to call such a daggum good game. Y'all need to listen to him. I
No.
was listening to the radio, and he was talking about the situation. I was like, well, I think there's a right-handed hitter on deck. I couldn't remember because they pinched hit or whatever. I was like, I don't want him facing Holiday. Holiday had pretty good swings and pretty good at bats most of the series. I felt like I didn't want Kinley facing that. Sure enough, they said, well, he's and Ben said, well, they're walking him for this righty-righty matchup with Sam Huff. I was like, that's the matchup. You're going to live and die with it. If he walks in the tying run, he walks in the tying run, and they have to make a decision on Kinley after the games. So Kinley's might have been fighting for his roster spot on this moment in time because if you can't get Sam Huff out, I don't know if they're going to let you get too many more guys or get too many more opportunities playing for that team. So, and give credit to Kinley. He nutted up, he executed pitches, and he got us out of the inning, Ken.
Yeah, really good job. So we win the series 2 out of 3. The Phillies do win. They blew out the Yankees, which they're not going to get swept in Philadelphia, so they didn't. 5.5 up. We like that. So let's get to our play of the series, MVP of the series. Oh my Lord, there's so many. When you have a one-run game in all 3 games, there's so many. So I'm excited to see what Ryan picks as his play of the series.
There's a lot of them. There's 3 that come to my mind. I'm going to pick one, and then I'll talk about the other 2. This play right here that you're seeing, the double play. Because let me tell you, bases loaded, nobody's out. You got their shortstop up there, which by the way, Gunnar Henderson was bad all series, and he's got confidence issues. I watched him multiple times walk back to the dugout with his head down, dragging the bat, and looking like he was completely lost. But that's a them problem, not a we problem. But the double play right here, I was like, no, this game's over. We're not getting out of this. And a bullet right to Matt, and he steps on first with the double play that instantly injects life back into it. Kinley comes in, gets us out of the jam. Riley comes up with a big hit. Like there's so many. You could have picked the Austin Riley hit right here that he splits the gap, but to me that double play gave us life, and that jolted us a little bit over the top in this series, Ken. But again, there's a couple more.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great play. I told Ryan, I think Alonso even told Matt and said, how in the hell did you just do that? Because that's not a play all first baseman can make. That's why Matt Olson will win another Gold Glove. I'm going to go to Friday night. Mauricio Dubon's catch, diving catch that saved 2 runs. I don't think we win Friday night without Mauricio. And Mauricio was so hard on himself this series about how many times he messed up. So let's give Mauricio some love. It's a tremendous play. Before we get to the MVP of the series, you got to love that out of a manager, don't you? Walt Weiss, man, was pumped after this game, wouldn't he, Ryan?
Man, he was jacked up. I love seeing that right there.
He even showed the guns, too, when he was slamming. I like it. All right, so MVP of the series. Again, a lot of ways we can go. Where are you going with MVP of the series?
Pitching staff. The entire pitching staff. Without them, we have absolutely no chance because our defense was dog shit this series in the last 2 games, in my opinion. The hitting was very inconsistent at best, but the one constant that we had were our starters, somehow our starting pitching, and the bullpen. They were the guys that went out there. They didn't give up many runs, and they locked down the wins for us. So my MVP is the pitchers, the entire pitching staff, Ken.
Great pick, and I fully behind it. I'll pick one out of the pitching staff. I'll go to Eliseo Hernandez, and I pray he's back in our organization because I think that's somebody that can actually help us as we go down the rest of the season, especially after the trade deadline. They get everything figured out and where everybody's at. So we'll go him. All right, so here come the New York Mets. The New York Mets are struggling. They did help us out the weekend before by taking 2 out of 3 from the Phillies, but they went to Milwaukee and got smashed, and they lost arguably their best player in Juan Soto. And I say arguably because he's a great hitter, but I don't know if he's the best player overall. The best player we don't get to see this series, and that's Nolan McLean, thank God. But we do get 3 good pitchers. We know about Christian Scott, Shaman. The kid Thornton's going to throw for them on Friday. He's got an 0.86 whip in his first 4 starts. That's pretty good. We're going to throw Martin Perez, Chris Sale, and Grant Holmes. That's Slider City. I'll give you a stat. The young left-handed hitters for the Mets are hitting a .138 against Slider, so I think it's going to be Slider City. What do you think about the overall matchup? Mets, 3 games.
If you're the Braves, you got to go in with the mindset, and you should every series. 2 out of 3. Got to go in there. We got to take 2 out of 3. If not, try to sweep these guys. Game one's going to be tough because they haven't seen the kid before, so it's going to be interesting to see how the kid does and see how we adjust to him. But the other two, they have seen. They should have a really good game plan. You got to execute your game plan, hitter. Stop going up there looking like you're lost, like you haven't done any homework before the game. For the love of God. And if we do that, I think we win 2 out of 3 easily, if not all three. Ken, what about you?
Yeah, big start from Martin. He's probably going to have to eat it. Bullpen is really taxed. I've seen no moves today. We do get Ronnie back. Ronnie was announced. He's coming back. Brewer Hicklin did a great job while he's up here. Great job, Brewer. Hopefully, we'll see you back in September. Maybe as the 27th the hitter added. I think he's got a possibility of being that. Him or Jarvis, either one of them is not here. I think we'll both come back. With that said, Martin's got to throw. He's going to get 100 pitches, so hopefully he'll throw strikes. He should be able to not have to walk guys like he did at San Diego. We all know he did walks on purpose there. Mets, he should be able to go after. The two guys that own him, Soto is out, Lindor is in. He maybe pitch around Lindor a little bit, but the rest of the kids struggle against the slider. With that said, how do you think the series is going to go?
2 out of 3. I think we went 2 out of 3. Look, I could have said sweep, but it's really tough for hitters to see a pitcher for the first time and know exactly what to expect. So I'm going to go 2 out of 3, Ken.
Ryan, what's our record after the All Star break? 7-3. Yeah, 7-3. So I'm not stopping now. I picked a sweep against the Rangers, sweep against the Padres, sweep against the Warriors. We keep winning the series. We're gonna sweep the Mets. Yeah, we're gonna sweep them. I ain't stopping. We're gonna get one of these sweeps, and it's gonna be the Mets. So, and I can't think of a better team. Ryan hates the Phillies the most. Mets second. I hate the Mets the most. Phillies second. So both of them, we can pee on. So I'm going to go sweep. Who's your MVP for the series? Who's the guy? First of all, real quick, Andrew, he always steps out on the limb, and this time he went Money Mike. So we always know it's either going to be Money Mike or Ralston or Baldwin. So this time he went Money Mike. But who you got for your pick the click?
I'm going to step out on a limb, Ken. He's been doing good the second half. Hopefully, that little thing that he did in that last hour, he's like, I really got to sit back and go to right center field. Hopefully, that gets him going. Austin Riley. He always hates the Mets. Every time he sees the Mets jersey, he seems to go out there and put up some pretty good numbers against them. So even when he was struggling, I think he was still getting 3 hits a series against them. So I'm going to go big, thick Austin Riley.
I like it. I like it a lot. We know Austin hates. He'll always be known for that time in 2022 when he told him he was coming. They were coming. So that's always one of my favorite lines from a Braves player. I'm going to the monster. Going a little monster. Ozzie Albies. He'll have to be big. Two left-handed pitchers. Austin will as well. Thornton's got good stuff. Throws the ball well. Shamani, dreaded curveballs coming on Wednesday afternoon. And Christian Scott up here is like Zach Wheelerness. So I think Ozzie can hit all of those pitches. I'll go Ozzie Albies. All right, so we're going to get out of here. Trade deadline's coming. Y'all make sure to keep tuning us in. On the news, the trade deadline for it just come out. Spencer Steer is going on the IL. So that's sad news for Coach because that was the one I was pulling for. That most likely takes Spencer out of it, but not necessarily. Eddie Rosario got traded and he was on the IL, so we'll see. Any final thoughts tonight, Ryan?
Yeah, I wanted to go back to the Orioles series, man. There was just so many key moments. One of them was Hernandez getting out of the bases loaded jam there. I think with one or two outs, he figured out how to get out of that. You had the Dubon play. You had the Matt Olson 3-run homer. You had the Austin Riley hit to tie it. You had the Baldwin homer to tie it in game one. Ozzie Albies tied it with a big home run in game two. You had, the pitching was great. I just overall there were a lot. It was a very fun series, even though it was very sloppy at points for the Braves. It was a very fun series to watch. And Camden Yards, very nice ballpark. Baltimore leaves little to be desired, in my opinion. Kathy, look, I'm from Maryland. I understand you grew up in Baltimore. I'm sorry, the city is just not very good. I'll keep it a buck 10 with you. Ballpark food, though. If you go to Camden, get the crab burger. Oh my God, was it good? That was probably the best food I've ever had at a ballpark. By far.
Yeah. Beautiful ballpark. They're adding on to it. They talked about the little Corona thing they added. I love their Monument Park. Got to sit in Eddie Murray's seat where he hit his 5th home run. That's pretty cool. Um, and the city is mm, it's rough. I don't really like walking around Baltimore. My final thought is this here from coach to coach. Walt Weiss, look at me. Love it, man. You just keep it up. That's the kind of energy I had in the dugout. I had my heart on my sleeve. I love it. You keep doing it. I don't know how in the world he can't be National League Manager of the Year. I'll just be honest with you. I'll keep it a buck 10, as Ryan likes to say. I have no idea. We know what he does a great job in Milwaukee. We know what he's done. We know Bill Roberts does a great job. Heck, Don Mattingly's done a good job in Philadelphia, but nobody's done the job that Walt Weiss has. Keep this up. He should have some hardware. That's my final thought. We'll get out of here. Y'all keep following us. We love you, Braves Country, and as always, peace.
You know what, boys? You guys are going to be world champions for the rest of your life.